As I mentioned at the outset, New Yorkers are facing really serious financial pressures, and all I can do is look at the cost of the bills, right? The cost of groceries have gone up 23% in the last 5 years. Who doesn't have to buy groceries, right? Every family needs to buy groceries every single week. Housing prices, if you're trying to buy a house, have gone up 17% at the same time. Childcare has gone up 20%. And I think it's not a newsflash that wages have not kept up with that, right? So the strain on working families is too much, and we're losing some families who are going elsewhere where they don't have the same challenges. And that actually threatens New York State's long-term viability. And that's why, since becoming governor, making New York State more affordable has been one of my top priorities. And as I said, I have great partners who have the same feeling of who we're fighting for and what we must do. We fought to raise the minimum wage, and for the first time in history, tie it to inflation. Now that was back when inflation wasn't even a big factor. Leaders, aren't we glad we did that for New Yorkers? We tied the cost of minimum wage to inflation. We doubled tuition assistance together. We held the line on income taxes. We negotiated a historic deal to build more affordable housing because nothing was being built, driving up the prices everywhere. We also are protecting our renters. And we talk about childcare. Together, we secured a $7 billion investment to overhaul our state's childcare system and making childcare more affordable. And just a couple weeks ago, we announced a new digital portal to make free and low-cost childcare available for eligible families online. So get this, and I hope you all heard this last week. For a family earning up to $108,000, a family of four earning up to $108,000, their child care expenses will not cost more than $15 a week. The average cost is $350. That's real money back in New Yorkers' pockets, and I'm really proud of that as well. As I said, it doesn't happen without the partnership of the state legislature, but we know our work is far from over. So we have to figure out ways we're constantly seeking ways to ease the burden on New Yorkers. And there's a lot of talk about, it used to be the 3 men in the room, remember, during budget negotiations. Now you have the 2 women and the man. And we're all parents. And we talk about intensely how we can put more money back in the pockets of New Yorkers. And today we're going to announce one of the many ways we've done just that. And so I'm announcing we're delivering $350 million in direct financial assistance to low and moderate income families statewide through the Child Tax Credit Program. $350 million, meaning 1 million New York families with children will be receiving a check in the mail by the end of August. Now, depending on your income and the size of the family, will determine the amount. Some families will receive up to $330 per child. You have 3 children, that's $1,000 in your family, doubling the amount of assistance that they've received in the past. And can you imagine the timing of that? Right while you're out there doing that last-minute school shopping. That's why we wanted to do this for New Yorkers. And the best part is, New Yorkers don't have to do anything to receive this payment. No forms, no phone calls, no hoops to jump through. It's just going to come to them. So, as I mentioned, back to school in September. Those costs add up a lot. What do I know about this? I checked. A backpack today costs around $30, $40. Some kids want the fancier ones. Some of the lower-end sneakers cost about $45. They go way up from there. Some kids need uniforms, a lunchbox, notebooks, and pens. I'm having PTSD from buying all this. I used to go in that shopping cart and just pile it all in, and it just seemed unending. And with this check, this is how parents will be able to cover the cost of back-to-school supplies and even some clothes in there, and that's why I'm so proud of this. And no other governor and no other state legislature in the history of this great state has distributed this much direct financial assistance to the degree we have to families in New York. In the last 2 years alone, We provided over $2.6 billion in financial relief for families and help homeowners with their bills. What we've done, we help homeowners with their property tax bills. We had additional assistance from the Earned Income Tax Credit recipients, and we even saved the cost of buying gas at the pump for New Yorkers during the pandemic. So this all comes back to our collective commitment to support New York's working families. And this child tax credit program is a vital program offering support to families with kids, and I know this is going to make a real difference. This is part of the cornerstone of our collective efforts to help families navigate the cost of living in New York. We're going to continue finding ways to drive the cost down, and I will also say this. What I realized when I became governor, this tax credit was only available for families with kids age 4 and up. Any parents in this room? Yeah, I thought so. They're kind of expensive as newborns, aren't they? Right? I mean, they outgrow everything in 3 months. I mean, the clothes say 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, because your babies are growing. And then they want to buy little sneakers, and they don't stay in those very long. And then all of a sudden, the cost of formula. My gosh, formulas and diapers. I told my husband, as soon as our kids are out of formula and diapers, we're going to be rich again. I mean, it was that much of a strain on us. I'd run out to BJ's, just fill up the shopping cart with everything I could buy as cheaply as I could. So we said, no. We're going to make that tax credit available from birth on upward and not just the age of 4. So that's a huge change. So we did that last year. So that means over 600,000 more children are covered with this, from infants all the way on up to high school, and that's one more way we're just making life a little bit easier. But I know I threw a lot of numbers at you. But I wanted you to hear from a real person in a couple minutes. Not that we're all real people. A person who's living through this right now. A young woman, Lisa Chin, a mom from Westchester, Mount Vernon, who's going to tell her story in a few moments about what it's like with a 2.5-year-old daughter and a 2-month-old son. I think she came up here just to get a little break in the action. So let her, Lisa, you can stay as long as you want here. And this year, since we expanded the eligibility, her family received the tax credit for the very first time. And she's balancing life as a full-time mom, pursuing her own dreams, and she's finishing up her bachelor's degree at FIT, and she's one of the recipients of our tuition assistance program. So with the state support, she's just an example of the people that we care about, why we do what we do, and how we're helping not just her future, but her children's future as well. So it's not just making life livable in New York, it's also making it affordable for every single family. And we won't stop fighting. There's always ways that we can work together to alleviate that burden. And it would not have been possible, as I mentioned, without incredible partners